I don't know where I was going with this. Instead of a condom, I put down like lips because we said we wouldn't bring down romantic relationships down to sex. So let's say it's physical intimacy,
You can
kissing.
though. My nickname is literally succubus. I don't mind if we're talking about sex, like obviously.
Yes, but it's mostly when we talk about sex, and I agree. I think sex is the core defining feature of the relationship we call romantic relationship. I think if anybody who's monoamorous would be questioned about what is actually romantic in their relationship, it would come down to physical intimacy and sex. There's no other aspect of their relationship which they want monopoly over. So
we I think it's just one thing. So we don't get into a really boxy vision. There's also that's romantic doesn't imply sexual, so
yes, I know. Okay,
automatically.
yeah, sure, sure,
Yeah, that's just small.
sure. Of course, you can have a romantic asexual relationship, and you can have romantic emotions towards people, but the majority of people who, I mean, okay, we can make, how would you make a
Because in
symbol?
that way we are giving too much importance on that aspect. It's
I
just
think
for the sake
that
of
that a
that.
lot of importance is given to that in society. I don't think I'm mentioning it more often than it is often the case that it is important. You get what I mean? I don't mean that every romantic relationship. I'm the one saying that there's no basic difference between a romantic and non-romantic relationship. For me, they come from the same source. So it's just a different prism of the things you do with different people, the kind of relationship you develop, and then one ends up being called a romantic, the other one ends up being called non-romantic. So I agree that it doesn't need to be physically intimate. But when it comes to exclusive relationships and what you want to find exclusive, so when we're going out to grab a beer with somebody, we don't hold them to the same standards as we do our physical partners. And I don't know how it works in relationships, like when there's a romantic emotion that you want monopoly over. I have not had a chance to talk to people enough regarding that so that I get into the bottom of it, of why societally we want a monopoly on those emotions as well, like in that type of relationship as well. Can you maybe elaborate, Martha, if you're acquainted with this type of relationship?
Uh, yeah, I'm trying to make a analogy. I don't know. Okay, so I think in each type, the way we can measure is a different of a different unity of measures. That's why the expression I used in the beginning, amatonormativity, it's putting every type of relationship on the same measure system, and that's the way we put the one lover relationship status so high, because it's on the same measure as everything, and that's not sustainable.
I don't
Uh,
think that's not sustainable. So I have my own system of measuring my relationships, but it's highly like binary. But I don't
yeah.
think it's not
mm,
sustainable because of that. So
okay.
my approach to relationships are when it comes to other people and not say franchises. I have a person that I just met, okay? And I might want to continue to do something with them. And then I think, okay, I can see this person physically, or I don't have to see this person physically. Which is it going to be? Am I going to frequently hang out with this person? Let's say yes. Next, am I going to share my hobbies with this person? Yes or no? Am I going to live with this person? let's say I put a no here, and so on, ticking boxes, seeing what I want to do, how I want to connect with this person. I get finally a relationship with. I don't care. I don't care how you call it from these types of love. I find this restraining. I find that these boxes are not good enough for me. Like, because ultimately they end up forming expectations that
I want not
ultimately
to
lead
forget
to.
something. So
Yeah, go
after you
ahead.
finish,
Yeah,
just say that
go
you're
ahead. But
finished.
this, I think this is on the same line. So every relationship goes through these boxes, and I just tick the boxes,
Okay.
and I see, okay, I like doing this. Does a person like doing this? Let's give it a shot. Go.
So I read in university. I read a book that I can write it down. It's by Amin Malouf, and its name is I think it's Killer Identities. The translation, because I got it in already translated in Portuguese. Um, so sorry, I need to breathe and think. Okay, so what you're talking about, these two different ways of viewing, is that on the first one, you're creating your own identity per se. Okay, and each box is a belonging. This is the like translation I get in English. Uh, uh, sorry, I have to. So the main thesis of this book was that ourselves, by confusing belongings with the entire identity of a person, kills. That's why we have racism and xenophobia and then religious wars, whatever. Because uh, the belonging of a person, we see it as the whole thing. Can you? I don't know if you're
I
following.
want to try to paraphrase this because it's something I already discussed. I think a similar thing I discussed with somebody on the server, and
Okay.
I think I agree. But just correct me if I sort of skew what you were saying.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a physical person, right? And this person we're going to interact with, and then there's everything this person carries with them. That this person, like, it's their religion, their orientation, their beliefs, their culture, right? And it's going to affect them the same way a rainy cloud affects you. Okay, so as far as I understand, when we confuse the person with this cloud, when we look at the cloud instead of the person, we are doing something bad, right? Did I?
Um.
Though it was this understandable? So we have things that sort of come with a person: their skin color, their ethnicity, their nationality, their religion, and everything else, right? That's the cloud. And then
Mhm.
we have the soul of a person. Was that what you were referring to, or did I
I
misunderstand
would
completely?
I would put it in another way. I
Yeah,
put
go
you
ahead.
have that dummy there, and
Yeah,
then the dummy has several stuff. It has I don't know, a skirt. It has blonde hair. It has I know, crooked teeth. Let's just say like that. When we just hyper focused on something and say this, we are missing out a lot, and we can't develop a truly what a truly not healthy, I don't want to use healthy relationship, but a whole relationship. We are just putting ourselves in a limited way, like we put when we say, oh, this is a romantic relationship and that's it. No, we have a lot of identities with that person. We share comics with that person, we share memes, we the boxes you were talking about, you see.
okay.
Okay.
I fail to understand. I think I understand. When we focus specifically on one aspect of the person, we lose the other aspects. Is
Yeah.
that what you mean? Okay, yeah. I can get behind that, but sometimes I would also argue that it's okay to only be interested in one aspect of a person. Like if a person is completely uninteresting to me, but they're well read, and I can have interesting
Mm,
discussions about what they've read with them. Is it not okay for me to just be a friends with benefits without benefit being exchanging literature? Like by this model, I feel like this would be a bad thing, but I see this as a completely consensual and mutually beneficial relationship.
yeah, if you take the time to think really carefully about it and you do you construct yourself that relationship, yes. If it's copy paste from a book, no, you have to think about what you want from that person. So I defend that aspect, not the earlier about just I don't know, focus on something and don't get 2 seconds to think about the rest. And some people, I
Okay,
think,
so
they
to
do it the right, like,
generalize based
sorry.
on one trait, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
um because, sorry, because we are having a lot of narratives here and then I have to shift a bit.
Yeah, we are
um
having a bunch of different metaphors.
yeah,
It makes
and
for
then
it makes for a
theories that
cute
get along,
cute
it's
picture collage, though.
human nature.